In the early 1980s, an unhappy childhood had shaped me into a young man both lost and resourceful, carving out in his own way a meaning to a life as harsh as it was perilous. I was also among the first generation to have music permanently grafted to our ears, a burlesque filter, softening the brutality of the outside world, blurring the line between its harshness and our inner selves. There was one song that struck a particular chord with that fiery, untamed young man I was. Could There Be an Elsewhere by Bernard Lavilliers, a somewhat eccentric French singer, nostalgic for the last great adventurers of the early 20th century. I'll leave a link to this song in the video description. This is not about departure, it is about escape, a cold and lonely flight into the indifferent night, a survival instinct, a refusal to wait for the end of this grey death. Each day we feel our eyes yielding a little more to choices that are not our own until they shut forever, when our souls have finally worn away. How many men resign themselves as the last embers fade? And yet perhaps there is an elsewhere, a fragile possibility, a fleeting chance for something better. So few of us manage to break free from their leaden prison, throwing themselves headlong into the unknown. They do not know if they are sprinting breathlessly toward a deeper hell, a wretched, solitary demise. Yet they choose to reignite their sacred fire, driven by a dignity as feeble as it is unwavering, and by a sense of self-worth, at least greater than the judgment of those who sought to keep them bound. Anguish, fire, rain, and fear will be their ill-fated companions, and yet it is better than the alternative. Better than those sterile battles against an exile from their own selves. They know that life is a journey, whose final stop is the grave toward which we all march inexorably. And still, they will feverishly seek the slightest crack in this leaden sky, hoping to uncover perhaps a trace of warmth. Moments of grace, when life consents to being, if not blissful, then at least bearable. With nothing but their own shoulders and the fragile remnants of their souls slung across them, they set out in search of an elsewhere. Desperate for an alternative. Desperate for a plan B. I've got music on my ears. Welcome to my plan B.